Bob Dylan's music is reimagined for the Tony Award-winning musical Girl from the North Country, set during the Great Depression. We have Chiara Trentalange here to chat all about it. Thank you so much for your time today.
Of course, I'm so happy to talk with you.
The show is currently in Chicago. It's here through February 25th. It's set during the Great Depression.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all understand what it's like, I think. You know, I actually was in the show on Broadway and we opened 5 days before COVID hit. And so, I mean, talk about like a synchronicity. It was so eerie and so bizarre because we got to come back and perform the show after going through something so intense like that. And the themes of hope and perseverance, they shone in a way that was just, it gave you goosebumps.
I mean, us just take a moment to celebrate that part of the show. Was that it started right before COVID. We're able to come back. The Tonys, getting to go on this tour. I mean, it's gone through a little bit of a ride, but I think that helps that show to connect with so many people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every audience member that comes to the show will be able to relate to a character on stage. There are something like 10 principals in the story. And so there are all these different storylines being woven throughout. And so it's really easy to find someone to personally connect with.
The other thing too that I love about this is that sometimes you might have an artist whose show might be featured on a Broadway performance, and it's either of like that time period or the future. And this is, I can think of only maybe the first time that we've taken an artist and taken their music and gone to the past.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful. And it's set in Duluth, where Bob Dylan is actually from. And so there's this interesting sort of like connectedness that you feel. And yeah, it makes for a magical experience for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about the character of Kate and her journey and her relationship with Gene.
Yeah, so Kate Draper is the character that I play, and she's a young lady in town, and she's sort of like a family friend of the Lanes who run the boarding house, and you find out that she's had a romantic relationship with the son, Gene Lane, and it's really neat because they're seen together. It's a short scene and a beautiful song, and it shows so much about the emotional world of these characters. And I think especially the character of Gene, because he's very sort of closed off and has this hard outer shell and is going through such a tough time. And when she comes on, you really see him in such a different light. And it's beautiful. It's awkward, it's fumbling, it's this feeling of new young love, but she has some bad news to deliver, that she's actually made a really difficult choice to move away and start a better life for herself. So, yeah, it's a really beautiful scene.
When you talk about that in the movement as well too, we move and dance a lot differently in 2024 versus 1934. Talk a little bit about the choreography, the characters, and just learning maybe different movements.
Yeah. Oh, Lucy Hind is our movement director, and I've learned so much from her in the past, however many years, 4 years that I've been with the project. Um, it's so much fun because you get this window into what it would be like to move around and, socially dance in 1934. People used to just dance and have a conversation, and that's how they socialize. They'd have a drink in their hand and they'd do the Charleston. So it's been so fun to sort of dive into that world, and also just how these characters would hold themselves, how they would walk through space, and all the little quirks that they would have. It's so fun to learn about those things. Yeah.
Let's go back to Bob Dylan's music because obviously not on pop radio or traditional radio stations now, but it's something that either when you're in college or your parents listen to it, or it's kind of passed down through generations. But maybe some of the younger folks who have come to see the show, either in New York or at any part of the tour, who are like, I've never listened to his music before, but because of the show, now I want to go back and learn more about him.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Like to think that there are these young people coming to the show that have never heard Bob Dylan's music, and this is the first time they hear it. And if that can open them up to his catalog, then we've done something right, you know? That's great. Yeah, but I mean, I remember growing up listening to Bob Dylan and, just wearing out the Blood on the Tracks album, and I loved it. It was such a big part of sort of my teenage years, and so it's really, really neat to be able to bring it to Broadway.
What type of like a new appreciation do you have, or a different appreciation from, growing up with his music, doing the show and hearing the lyrics, but performed in a different way?
Yeah, I mean, you could listen to Bob Dylan's music forever and never get bored because there are so many layers there. The lyrics are so poetic and there's all these little hidden gems, and he's so incredibly smart. So, you know, it's so neat to learn and to listen and to hear something new every time I do the show. And I mean, there are songs that I have never heard of in my whole entire life in the show. And so that's been really neat that it's been able to open up my eyes to so much more of his catalog.
That is amazing. As far as being here for Chicago, we got you here for 2 weeks. Anything you're looking forward to doing or visiting or seeing while you're in town?
Oh, well, I've never had deep dish, so I've got to do that.
It's an experience, but I'll say this: do not do it right before a show, because sometimes if you have too much, it's going to make you sleepy. So you want to do it like on a weekend or when you can relax afterwards. That's just from a lifelong Chicagoan. That's my tip to you.
Okay, thank you. That's actually great advice. I'm gonna go take a walk to the park today and see the giant bean and all that stuff. Um, I don't know. I've asked my friends who are here for lots of recommendations. So if you have anything, let me know.
Yeah, the bean. You actually you're not allowed to leave the city until you get a selfie with the bean. So it's required. I think it's a law somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, great. Perfect. Well, I better do that.
You better do that. A lot of great shopping, a lot of great restaurants. The downtown area, West Loop. There's so many good places to go and check out. So a lot of good food, some shopping, and of course theater.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so happy to be here.
Wonderful. Chiara, thank you so much for your time today. Girl for the North Country at the CIBC Theatre now through February 25th. BroadwayInChicago.com for tickets, and enjoy your time in our city.
Thanks so much, Rudy.
Thank you.